So, you've been thinking about upgrading your PlayStation 5, or maybe you're just now jumping into the PS5 ecosystem. But wait, there's the PS5 Slim, and then there's the PS5 Pro. And now you're stuck wondering, is it really worth upgrading? Or is Sony just throwing out more expensive versions to milk our wallets? Well, stick around because today we're breaking down everything you need to know in the ultimate PS5 versus PS5 Slim comparison. And trust me, you don't want to miss this. First, let's talk history. Every PlayStation generation has had a Slim version at some point. The PS2 Slim? Legendary. PS3 Slim? An absolute fan favorite. The PS4 Slim? A much-needed refinement. But the PS5 Slim? Well, let's just say it's not quite the revolution we were expecting. Why? Because unlike previous Slim models that often came with slight performance improvements or major design overhauls, the PS5 Slim is almost identical to the original, just in a smaller package. Historically, Slim models helped reduce overheating issues, lowered power consumption, and sometimes even extended the lifespan of the console. But the PS5 Slim isn't exactly changing the game in those areas. It's mostly a cosmetic and space-saving update. Still, one question remains. If the PS5 Slim is just a smaller PS5, then what's the real incentive for gamers to make the switch? Let's dive into that next. Alright, let's talk design. The PS5 Slim is, well, slim. Sony managed to shrink its size by about 30 cents, and it's 24% lighter. That's great for those of us who don't have a ton of space in our entertainment setup. But here's the thing. When you put it side by side with the original, it's still not exactly small. It still carries that futuristic, spaceship-looking aesthetic, which, by the way, some people love and others absolutely hate. The reduction in size does make it easier to fit into smaller entertainment centers. But it's not a drastic shift like the PS2 Slim or PS3 Slim. Sony didn't reinvent the wheel here. They just made it slightly more convenient. And then there's the detachable disk drive. This is probably the most interesting change because now if you buy the digital edition, you can upgrade later by adding the drive. That's something the original PS5 never offered. But here's where it gets a little sketchy. Sony made it so that the digital edition plus the drive costs more than just buying the disc edition up front. Yep, they know exactly what they're doing. But there's another aspect to consider. Cooling. The PS5 was already a large console to accommodate better airflow and prevent overheating. With a smaller form factor, does the PS5 Slim sacrifice cooling performance? Early reports suggest it still runs efficiently, but only time will tell if prolonged gaming sessions lead to increased heat issues. Now let's get into what really matters: performance. And let me tell you straight up, if you're expecting a performance boost, you're going to be disappointed. The PS5 Slim has the exact same CPU, the exact same GPU, and the exact same 16 GB of GDDR6 RAM. So if you're hoping for better frame rates, improved graphics, or faster load times, nope. You're getting the same experience as the original PS5. However, Sony did increase the storage from 825 GB to 1 TB, which is a nice bonus. But let's be real. Modern games eat up storage like crazy. If you're playing Call of Duty, that extra 175 GB gets used up fast. So in reality, you're still going to need an extra SSD if you want to avoid constantly deleting games. But what about power efficiency? Sony claims that the PS5 Slim consumes less power under load, meaning it could save you a bit on your electricity bill over time. The cooling system has been slightly tweaked as well, but it remains to be seen if that translates to a quieter or cooler experience compared to the launched PS5. Okay, so we've established that performance is the same, but there are some minor changes that might actually make a difference depending on how you use your console. First off, Sony removed the USB-A port on the front and replaced it with 2 USB-C ports. If you rely on older accessories that use USB-A, this could be an inconvenience, but for most gamers, this won't be a big deal. Another change is the repositioning of the power and eject buttons. A lot of people complained about accidentally pressing the wrong button on the original PS5, and Sony actually listened. The eject button is now placed differently, making it easier to avoid those frustrating mistakes. Now let's talk money. The PS5 Slim starts at $450 for the digital version and $500 for the disc edition. Pretty much the same price as the original. But here's the catch. The original PS5 is being phased out. That means if you don't already own one, you're most likely going to have to buy the Slim anyway. And while the Slim makes sense for new buyers, what about existing PS5 owners? Is it worth upgrading just for a smaller size and a slight increase in storage? Honestly, probably not. The only reason to upgrade would be if your original PS5 is on its last legs, or you really need that extra space in your setup. Now here's a wild thought. What if you just skip the Slim entirely and wait for the PS5 Pro? The Pro is supposed to bring some serious GPU upgrades, allowing for better ray tracing, more stable 60 FPS gameplay, and even 8K support, even though, let's be honest, no one really needs that right now. But with a rumored price tag of $600 to $700, you have to ask yourself, do you really need all that extra power? Or are you better off just sticking with what works? One of the biggest concerns when buying a new console is how long it will stay relevant. Sony has a history of supporting their consoles for years. But will the PS5 Slim have the same longevity? We dive into software updates, hardware durability, and how future-proof this console really is. Aside from hardware, the PS5 Slim runs on the same software as the original PS5. However, Sony has been rolling out UI changes, new features, and quality-of-life improvements. From game library organization to the revamped PlayStation Plus tiers, here's everything new in the software experience. What about accessories? Does the PS5 Slim work with existing controllers, VR headsets, and third-party add-ons? We break down which accessories you can still use and whether there are any exclusive accessories for the Slim. So, is the PS5 Slim worth it? We wrap up everything discussed and give our final recommendation based on different types of gamers: new buyers, existing PS5 owners, and those considering waiting for the PS5 Pro. So what's the final verdict? If you already own a PS5, there's almost no reason to upgrade to the Slim. You're getting the same performance, just in a slightly smaller package. But if you're buying a PS5 for the first time, then sure, the Slim is the way to go, because let's face it, you don't have a choice. But before you rush out and buy one, ask yourself, do you want to future-proof your gaming setup? If so, maybe it's worth waiting for the PS5 Pro. And if you're looking for the absolute best gaming experience right now, you might even want to consider building a PC instead. Either way, let me know what you think in the comments. Are you planning to upgrade? Do you think the Slim is worth it? Or are you holding out for the Pro? Let's get the debate going. And if you made it this far, do me a huge favor. Hit that like button, subscribe for more gaming content, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.